So another week, another bunch of crazy AI tools dropping out of nowhere. We've got new video models, open source language models, voice cloners, image generators you can run on your phone. Like, a lot happened. So grab a coffee, sit back, and let me walk you through everything that came out this week. Let's get into it. Alright, first up, Google dropped a new version of their video generation model called Veo 3.1 Lite. Now, you might have heard of Veo 3.1 before, but this Lite version is basically the budget-friendly option. Here's the quick breakdown on pricing. The regular Veo 3.1 costs about 40 cents per video. The fast version drops that to 15 cents. But Veo 3.1 Lite, just 5 cents a video. That's wild. Now, the trade-off is quality. Lite maxes out at 720p, so if you want 4K, you'll need to stick with the fast or the regular version. But honestly, for most stuff, 720p or even 1080p is totally fine. And if you really need higher quality later, just throw it through an upscaler. Problem solved. So if you've been wanting to experiment with AI video, but the cost was putting you off, this is a pretty solid entry point. Okay, next up, and this is a big one, Google also released Gemma 4. This is an open source AI model, meaning you can download it, run it on your own computer, fine-tune it, do basically whatever you want with it. And it's under the Apache 2 license, so the restrictions are super minimal. Now it comes in 4 different sizes. The tiny ones, 2 billion and 4 billion parameters, are designed to run on the Raspberry Pi or even phones. Then there's a 24 billion parameter model. This one's a mixture of experts model, meaning it's smart and efficient at the same time. Only about 3.8 billion parameters are actually active at once, so it's not a resource hog. And finally, a 31 billion parameter model. This one's the dense, high quality one. If you want the best output, this is your pick. What makes this release really exciting is how multimodal it is right out of the box. You can feed it text, images, and audio all in the same model. That's huge, especially for the smaller versions, because it means you can have a capable AI running locally on your phone that can see, hear, and talk to you in real time. Context windows are solid too. 128k tokens on the small models, which is roughly 100,000 words or like an hour of audio, and 256k context window on the bigger ones. And it supports over 140 languages. So this isn't just useful for English speakers. Performance-wise, it's genuinely impressive. It sits right up near the top compared to other open source models, and it's doing this at a fraction of the model size of its competitors. You can download the models on Hugging Face, you can try it for free on Google AI Studio, or even run it through tools like OpenClaw if you want a fully local AI setup. Alright, moving on. The folks over at ZAI, who make the GLM series of open source models, just dropped GLM 5V Turbo. This is a vision coding model, which is a bit of a niche, but super useful thing. Basically, you can give it images, videos, sketches, documents, anything visual, and it'll use that as a reference to write code or build apps. So like, let's say you scribble out a rough wireframe of a website on a piece of paper. Just snap a photo, toss it in, and this model will actually code up a working app that matches your layout. Or you can upload screenshots of an existing website and it'll recreate it, including the animations. And the benchmarks on this thing are genuinely surprising. It's actually beating models like Kimi 2, 5, and even Claude Opus 4.6 on most design-related benchmarks. That's honestly not something I expected to say. Right now, you can access it via API, connect it to coding tools like OpenClaw or Claude Code, or just use it directly on the ZAI chat platform. If you're doing any kind of UI or web development with AI, this one's worth trying. Next, and this one's kind of unexpected, Netflix just released their first ever open source AI model. It's called Void, which stands for Video Object and Interaction Deletion. Basically, you take an existing video, tell it what you want removed, and it deletes it. But here's the cool part, it doesn't just delete it and leave a weird hole. It actually fills in the background and makes the whole thing look natural, like the object was never there. They showed off some examples, like removing a bowling ball and the players from a clip, and the pins just stay standing, or removing a car from a crash scene, and suddenly there's no crash. It's really clean. The model is open source and available now with all the instructions on how to install and run this locally on your computer. Fair warning though, it's about 22 gigabytes total, so you'll need a higher end GPU to run it locally. Okay, here's one that solves a real problem with AI image generation. It's called GenSearcher. So the issue is this: most image models are only as good as what they were trained on. If you ask it to generate a specific character, building, or location it doesn't know about, you're usually going to get something vague or just wrong. GenSearcher fixes that by searching the web first. So before it generates your image, it looks up reference images, grabs visual context, and then generates based on all that real-world information. The results are noticeably more accurate whether you're generating a specific video game character, a real building, or an infographic with actual data, like temperature ranges for specific remote locations. It's also model agnostic, which means it works with basically any image generator, open or closed source. And the benchmarks show a pretty significant accuracy improvement when you add this framework on top of existing models. The code is already released, so you can go set this up yourself. If you do a lot of detailed or factual image generation work, this could be a real game changer. Alright, we've also got a couple of really strong voice cloning and text-to-speech tools that dropped this week. First one is Longcat Audio DIT from Chinese food delivery company Meituan. Yes, a food delivery company making AI. This one does two things: text-to-speech and voice cloning from just a few seconds of audio. You drop in a short audio clip, paste in the transcript, give it new text to say, and it generates a voice that sounds genuinely close to the original tone, style, accent, everything. This was the audio sample I gave it.
Have you ever thought about meditation? You've probably heard that it's beneficial, but how exactly? Today we're diving deep into the world of inner peace.
And here's the result.
Subscribe to the Worthy AI to keep up with all the coolest new AI tools dropping every week.
They released two versions, a bigger 3.5 billion parameter model at around 15 gigabytes, and a smaller, more efficient one at about 6 gigabytes that should fit on most consumer GPUs. It's already live on Hugging Face if you want to try it out. Quality-wise, it's up there with the best voice tools available right now. Hot on its heels is another text-to-speech tool called OmniVoice, and this one's claim to fame is supporting over 600 languages, including some pretty obscure ones. Same deal, you can clone a voice from a short clip, or if you don't have a reference voice, you can just describe the voice using text. It'll generate accordingly. You can also add emotional tags, things like laughter, surprise, dissatisfaction, and it'll apply those to the delivery. It supports both NVIDIA GPUs and Apple Silicon.
Regional and seasonal severe weather phenomena include blizzards, storms, ice storms, and dust storms. In 1990, it was added to the list of World Heritage Sites in danger due to the threat of desert sands.
By 1976, 30% of Machu Picchu has been restored and restoration continues till today. Since students are often the most critical audience, the blog writer begins to strive to improve writing to avoid criticism.
And the whole thing is only about 3 gigabytes, which is tiny. Instructions for running it locally are on GitHub. Definitely worth trying if voice work is part of what you do. Now here's something I thought was still a few years away, a locally running image generator on your phone. It's called Dreamlight from ByteDance. It's a tiny 0.39 billion parameter model that's almost nothing by AI standards, and it can generate images in about 3 seconds on an iPhone 17 Pro. It also does basic image editing, change the style, remove objects, swap backgrounds, that kind of thing. The quality isn't amazing. You can tell it's a tiny model. Skin, fur, fine details, it's not going to beat Nano, Banana, or Flux. But that's kind of not the point. The point is, this is running entirely offline, on your phone, instantly. For the size, it actually outperforms other models in the same class. The code is up on GitHub, and they've said the model weights will be released soon. And then there's Qwen 3.5 Omni from Alibaba, and honestly, this might be the most impressive release of the week. This is a true omnimodal model, meaning it natively handles text, images, audio, and video all in one model, not separate systems stitched together. They released two versions, a plus version that's more powerful, and a real-time version that's smaller with much lower latency, so it responds faster, great for live interactions. The benchmarks are wild on several audio-visual tasks. It's actually outperforming Google's Gemini 3.1 Pro. That's a big deal for an open source model. In demos, they showed it analyzing a video of a snake game and then coding a replica from scratch, just from watching the video, no text prompt. Then they had it modify the game with seasonal themes based on another video with spoken instructions. It also built a full product showcase webpage from a video demo alone. This is genuinely next level for an open model. You can try it for free on Hugging Face or the QuenChat platform. And that's a wrap for this week. Drop a comment on which tool you're most excited to try, and I'll see you next week.